In our world, one can encounter an enormous variety of plants and animals, yet nowhere is this so vividly expressed as in the Amazon. This place seems to have come straight off the pages of fantastic books. Mysterious creatures, incredible artifacts. We set off into the very heart of this dense forest to see the Amazon's amazing wonders, from giant owls to petrified snakes. You are on the Top Facts channel, in the laboratory of incredible collections of facts and videos from across the internet. Does it ever happen that an owl's wingspan equals that of a bald eagle? Many would hastily say that this is a myth, but once a hunter witnessed a striking scene. A huge owl perched on a wooden post at the forest's edge. For a moment, the man thought he was seeing something out of ancient myths. The bird looked as if it was embracing the very post, as though they shared a mysterious bond. Some believe that such owls point us to Greek legends, and perhaps the origins of this majestic feathered creature hide in the depths of the past. One way or another, such an encounter makes us marvel at the wonders of the wild. A fisherman was in for a real shock when his tackle caught something that resembled a fish with a body transparent like glass, yet with claws like a lizard. Moreover, through the translucent flesh, tiny legs resembling those of a centipede were clearly visible, moving inside. To this day, nobody can confidently say what kind of hybrid this is. If there are biologists among the readers who can recognize this creature, they could certainly shed some light. For now, only guesses remain, along with amazement at how incredible some denizens of the water can be. Famed adventurer Jeremy Wade set out with his team to a remote region in search of a giant crayfish he had never encountered before. When they managed to catch it in the murky Amazonian waters, everyone was stunned by its dimensions. It turned out to be a very large specimen, absolutely unlike the usual river crayfish. The researchers even placed a special tracking chip on it to follow its movements and study it further. Then, adhering to ethical standards, they let the crustacean go back, since preserving this rarity is hugely important. Perhaps that is exactly how one should handle nature's curiosities, with maximum caution and care. At first glance, this little spider looks like it belongs in a science fiction movie, yet it is a real peacock spider from Australia. It is known for its bright colors and jaw-dropping dances during mating season. It is extremely tiny, only a few millimeters in size, and absolutely harmless to humans. One could call it more of a forest ornament than a cause for alarm. The colorful pattern on its abdomen and its astounding spider dances make the peacock spider practically a miniature symbol of the vibrancy of Australia's wildlife. A wildlife photographer was wandering through an unfamiliar forest when he stumbled upon tiny creatures that looked like small goats. Yet what was really strange was that their faces showed no features at all. How they could eat or drink remained a mystery. These little goats behaved playfully and did not seem dangerous, but their sudden appearance was quite eerie. The photographer took pictures of this phenomenon and then decided it was better not to disturb them and retreated. Now the scientific world needs to figure out what these creatures are and where they came from. While journeying through the Amazon jungle, a curious traveler suddenly saw a tiny creature lying on the ground. It seemed flipped upside down, and at first glance looked almost made up. The brave soul took out his phone and began filming. In the video, the creature resembled either a mythical cryptid or some baby of a mystical werewolf. Even more unsettling was that this little beast appeared lifeless, as though it had been deliberately hidden here in hopes that no one would ever find it. But chance intervened, and the explorer now faced a new enigma. Which secrets are buried in the depths of this immense forest? If you place a camera somewhere remote, you might catch intriguing footage. So it was that a strange pinkish snake with a snout resembling that of a small dragon was once recorded. Watching its smooth movements, it is hard to figure out which species it belongs to. No known reptile quite looks like it. Could it be an extremely rare variety, or even the last member of a dying family line? For now, these questions remain unanswered. Most of us are convinced that woolly mammoths have vanished into oblivion, but one photographer studying local fauna came across a baby elephant that looked very much like a prehistoric creature. Its thick coat and its mannerisms, seemingly right out of a mammoth's playbook, made him genuinely wonder if someone was secretly attempting to resurrect these giants. Whatever the truth, the sight was so fantastic that the photographer remained stunned by the experience for quite some time. An experienced angler journeyed to the Amazon specifically in search of a trophy fish bigger than any he had caught before. But for a long while, he had no luck, only small fry. Then, just as he was about to pack up his gear, at last something huge bit, an enormous catfish. The fisherman felt both fear and awe. At first, he could not believe he was not hallucinating, but pulling himself together, he carefully reeled in the monster. In that moment, the fisherman realized that sometimes only persistence and patience yield such astonishing rewards. In a small Mexican village, people noticed something odd going on in the surrounding brush at night. Members of a secret organization began frequent visits, and the locals, guided by curiosity, resolved to investigate. They discovered that the specialists were studying an extremely unusual creature, completely unlike any known earthly animal. It was as though it lacked a typical body structure, and no face or distinct outlines were visible. This mysterious guest spawned a swarm of rumors and raised serious suspicions that the authorities were hiding something crucial from the public. This story serves as a reminder that our planet harbors secrets we might not even suspect. Deep in the tropical forest, hunters were tracking deer but unexpectedly encountered a two-legged figure with horns, a furry body, and sharp claws. Its face looked bestial, and its stance was nearly human. The local tribes call such a creature El Hombre Bestia, believing it protects the forest from uninvited guests. The hunters, transfixed by the sight, refrained from shooting, choosing not to meddle with an unknown power. Consequently, the legend of this beast man only strengthened, continuing to intrigue all who dare to wander into these untamed parts. A man was collecting rubbish along a shoreline, sifting through sand and pulling out first a bottle, then a plastic bag. Suddenly, his eye was drawn to an odd object that initially looked like just another piece of plastic. However, it turned out not to be debris, but a living being, somewhat resembling a giant beetle with octopus-like tentacles. The poor creature blinked a couple of times and kept lying there in the sand, and the man did not immediately realize what he was holding. It seems that beneath our feet we sometimes find not man-made objects, but genuine alien creatures whose existence we never imagined. One of the swiftest and most aggressive predators in Florida's freshwater habitats is considered the gyar. Though it is the smallest member of the gyar family, in this instance, a sizable specimen was caught, hunting in small bodies of water for sunfish, crayfish, and frogs. In many ways, this fish reminds one of an alligator, notably in its fierce jaw structure, which enables it to grab its prey almost instantaneously. And although it is also called the spotted gar because of the dotted pattern on its body, few would dare get too close to it. In a remote forest, a researcher stumbled upon an emerald green object resembling a skull. The teeth and eye sockets were fairly distinct. Moreover, there were mysterious symbols and drawings on top, and the skull itself was elongated, prompting yet more questions. Maybe it belongs to some unknown forest inhabitants or a lost civilization? The enigma and mystique of the find only stir the imagination, giving rise to the wildest theories. Perhaps such unexpected discoveries remind us that plenty of spots remain on Earth where items untouched by civilization may lurk. In the heart of the forest, a traveler came upon a massive mushroom. By width, it was nearly the size of a plate and in height it reached several dozen centimeters. Very few even seasoned mushroom hunters have encountered such dimensions. Some people, stunned by its scale, joke that this mushroom is a relic from prehistoric eras when everything on Earth was far larger. Of course, debates persist, yet it undoubtedly makes one wonder how many more such giants exist that seldom cross our path. Speaking of the rivers of the Amazon, one cannot fail to mention the local alligators and crocodiles. A man named Guam, who worked at a zoo, was fishing in the river when something truly enormous emerged nearby. Drawing on his understanding of dangerous animals, he remained calm and avoided provoking the colossal crocodile. In fact, he even managed to get a photo, carefully moving close enough, but naturally doing so with great caution. There are not many daredevils ready to take such risks for a shot like that. A man was walking through the woods and heard odd noises. Approaching closer, he saw a pangolin vigorously and even fiercely digging into the ground with its claws. Usually, these charming, scaly mammals feed on ants and termites and rarely draw undue attention. Yet in this case, the creature seemed to be trying to dig its way through some sort of wall or embankment. What spurred this behavior remains a mystery to be solved. Astonished, the man chose not to interrupt the pangolin's unusual activity and swiftly left. A bizarre video has been circulating online for some time, showing a strange creature curled up on the floor in a fetal pose. Its face is almost human, whereas its body is covered in thick fur, like that of a beast. Some claim it is a hoax, that someone in a costume was trolling onlookers. Others immediately recalled the old legend of the Naga, a shapeshifter capable of taking on human form. Seeing the footage, one inevitably wonders, what if the legends are not so far from reality? Rumors have spread for a while about some monster hiding in the depths of the forest. Visually, it looks somewhat like a bear, yet it moves in a strange way, as though dragging its lower body. A few eyewitnesses guess the creature may be injured and simply trying to avoid predators. But there are no detailed photos or scientific evidence, only speculation and rumor. Could it be a rare specimen unknown to science thus far? If anyone has more definite ideas, all that remains is to put forth theories and hope for clarity. A farmer one day found on his property a tiny creature covered in thick fur, though its proportions faintly reminded him of a human baby. For some reason, it had climbed into the enclosure, and the farmer spent a long time examining his find, never working out which species it might be. While theories abound, from a strange genetic anomaly to a mythical changeling, there are still no concrete answers. Sometimes nature surprises us in ways that leave us utterly perplexed. A simple stroll with the dog in the woods unexpectedly turned into quite the adventure for one man. He came upon a colossal centipede gliding across the ground as if everything were normal. Its size was so extreme that the man hardly trusted his own eyes. Yet after recovering from the initial shock, he decided not to panic and just observed from a distance as the creature crept by, ignoring him. However, a nagging question remained. Where do such monsters come from? And how many more of them lie hidden in these impassable forests? A fisherman was calmly sitting in his boat when he spotted something peculiar. A dark, spotted creature that looked almost like a bird, as though it were unfolding invisible wings on the water's surface. Intrigued and slightly uneasy, the fisherman took a picture of the creature and asked other people to help figure out what he had encountered. Ultimately, it turned out to be simply a flying squid, also known as a sea hare. Despite its unusual plumage, it poses no threat. Once again, this proves how astonishing and unpredictable the sea's depths can be. In a quiet Indonesian town, residents began noticing a strange creature by the river. It startled them so much that people stopped going to the water's edge. Two brave individuals decided to find out what was going on and set off into the forest with sticks and flashlights. Amid the damp undergrowth, they truly saw something out of place. A featureless being with a stretched-out body, and a long tail. When they tried to corner it, the creature abruptly disappeared, as though it had dissolved into thin air. Nobody could explain where it came from or where it vanished. Still, curiosity took hold of the locals. Might this cryptic phantom return one day in another form? A tourist had roamed the Amazon without spotting anything noteworthy, until on his way back, he saw a gigantic anaconda crossing the river deeper into the brush. According to him, the snake could have been about 15 meters long. Just one look at such a titan was enough to make his heart skip a beat. But the tourist, it seems, managed to keep cool and record a short video. Once posted, it sparked debate. Some claimed it was the oldest snake in the Amazon. Others believed it was the fabled anaconda monster from legends. Be that as it may, such a meeting surely leaves no one unmoved. A group of friends went for a nighttime walk in the woods and suddenly heard strange sounds among the trees. Logic might dictate turning back, but their curiosity prevailed. Soon, they came upon a tall, gaunt figure that hissed menacingly, as though ordering them to leave. Instead of fleeing, the friends stood transfixed, and the mysterious forest guardian immediately melted into the darkness. No one knows what it was, yet meetings like this make one wonder whether the depths of the forest conceal beings about which we have only vague legends. A group of fishermen went out casting their nets and came upon a crocodile of staggering size. It lay there quietly, and by the bulges in its belly, one could guess something quite large was already inside. The fishermen estimated that the creature measured at least 7.6 meters in length. Alarmed by its scale, they did not approach any closer, though they did film it from afar. Perhaps this crocodile is that very legend the locals speak of, a monster protecting the depths where ordinary people fear to tread. During an expedition deep into tropical forests, a researcher spotted an enormous snake coiled on a tree branch. Its tail stretched off into the adjacent thickets, and the entire creature astounded onlookers by its imposing size. Luckily, it showed no aggression, letting the traveler observe it from a distance. Certainly, one thought that might have crossed the person's mind was, what if this being had been far less tolerant? Now and then, encounters like these remind us how thin the line can be between awe and fear. Once a strange worm believed to be alien was discovered in the Amazon, it caused quite a stir. But it was soon overshadowed by a new marvel. Now everyone was talking about a transparent insect glowing a vivid neon yellow. It looked as though glowing currents were running inside it, illuminating each tiny section of whatever surface it touched. On the internet, this creature was quickly dubbed the Alien Beetle. Even self-appointed experts could not define what they were looking at. Thus, the world was reminded yet again that the tropical forests hold countless surprises and mysteries. The final tale seems to begin innocently enough. A man went out into his yard and, amid the fallen leaves, noticed a tiny being doing somersaults and pivoting as though it were a leaf itself. On video, it moved so gracefully and unusually that viewers online immediately called it an alien. Or perhaps it is simply some unknown biological species, perfectly adapted to its surroundings and skilled at hiding. Nevertheless, the point remains: our world is inexhaustible in its surprises. So, will you dare venture into the Amazon after all these tales? And a big thank you for joining us on the Top Facts channel, the laboratory of incredible factual compilations and videos from across the internet. Subscribe to the channel, leave your comments, and right now, watch 2 of our previous episodes, which have already appeared on your screen.